a revision, or you can say crash course type thing. Okay, so I am literally working over it so that I can give you my 100%, so that you can score very well, right? So no matter whether you are missing macro, though you should not miss macroeconomics classes as well, self study session, because they are very important, right? But I want everyone to join for Indian economy, because Indian economy I'm planning in a very good way that will be giving you the fruitful, like accession recession parts are there, which we are not doing in the class, right? So you should, and plus what type of question they ask and how you are going to attempt that, so they all are there. So you should attend that, because that's going to be very important. That will be like, no matter if you join, self study session is something, not like I'm not teaching you something new, but that always add. Why? Because that you have a pressure over you, that okay, someone will ask us, and this is, you are getting targets that you have to complete this. So if you are not coming for macro due to any reason, but for Indian economy you have to come, and I will try to keep 3 days in a week classes for the self study session I'm talking about. Okay, so that self study session I'll plan in some unique way, that we will cover everything over there, like I'll be sharing notes, like some extra notes and all that. So make sure that you don't miss the Indian economy classes. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's just start with this chapter. So basically, this I have already shared the PDF. I hope you all got it. I have shared the PDF for rural development as well as for the employment, right? So I hope you have that PDF, so you can refer that, right? So let's just start. So now the chapter is employment, growth, informations, and other issues. So if I am giving you time to read it out, just read it out. Because if you are not getting anything, you can quickly ask me that, ma'am, I'm not getting it. Right? So if I'm giving you time, so you should utilize that. Okay, it's not like I'm saying read it and you are not reading it. Okay. So let's just start. So employment, ma'am, what is employment? So employment is basically when you get work, right? If you are earning, if you are working, that means if you are doing any economic activity, right? That means you are employed and you are getting employment. Okay, so let's just start. So first of all, question is, ma'am, why people work, right? Why do people work? So see, people work first of all to earn, right, a living. For example, I want to live a good life, so of course I have to work, right? Second is, when you work, that gives you a self-worth, right? Like that gives you a self-worth, that okay, you are something, there is a value for you because you are contributing somewhere, right? And everyone who is working, every person who is working is contributing to national income, hence he is helping or he is contributing to the development of the country, right? So that's why people work. First, they work for earning. Second, when they earn, their self-worth increases, right? Plus, they contribute to the national income of a country. So that's why these are the three reasons why people work. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's just start. So see, from this chapter, you need to remember the terms. Terms in the sense, what is GDP, what is workforce ratio, these terms, one marker questions will be there. Okay, so you should remember all this, what is mean by factory work and all that, right? So let's just see. So first is workers and employment, participation of people in employment, right? So first is gross domestic product and gross national product, right? So let's just understand, ma'am, what is gross domestic product. Okay. So now gross domestic product, which is GDP, and gross national product, which is GNP. Okay. See, listen to it very carefully. For example, this is your country, right? I am working over here, right? And because of this sources, I am getting money. So this is my GDP, domestic. Within the country, I am getting the money. But for example, this is Australia or America. From here, I am getting money. So that is, I am getting money out from abroad, right? So that will be my GNP. Clear? Got the difference? If I'm getting the money within my country, that will be GDP, which is D means domestic, right? But if I'm getting money from abroad, that is my GNP, which is national. I'm getting money not from my own country, but from the national itself, right? So let's just understand GDP. The total money value of all the final goods and services produced within a domestic territory of a country in a given year is called GDP, right? And see, When the net factor income from abroad, okay, to add it to GDP, we call the country GNP. So when, for example, what is your GNP? Whatever you are earning in your company plus whatever money you are getting from abroad, right? Which is NFIA, right? This NFIA is basically net. And whenever you are getting the net word, that means a difference, right? So for example, some money you will be giving out, right? So you will be giving to the country as well as you are getting the money. So factor income from abroad minus factor income paid to abroad, right? So when you will subtract whatever, for example, you give there's your brother living over here, so you give 100 rupees and in return he gave you 20 rupees, right? So what is happening? Factor income from abroad. So from abroad you are getting 20 rupees, for example, and whatever money you are giving over there, it is 100, right? So in total your NFIA is minus it, right? So over here you will writing, and whenever you are getting the word net, just understand this net means subtraction. You are subtracting something, only then you are getting over there, right? So when we add net factor income from abroad with your GDP, right, that is known as your GNP. Clear? Yes, no? Right now, don't worry, like, ma'am, what is GDP? When we will be doing the national income chapter, over there it will be more clear. But yeah, it is somewhere related, so you should understand what is GDP and what is GNP. Okay. Now, after that, the question is, ma'am, who is a worker? See, if I'll ask you who is a worker, you will say, ma'am, a person who is doing work, that is a worker, right? But students, yeah, that person is a worker, but there are three more conditions. See, all those persons who are engaged in various economic activities, right, whether low in a low work or a high work or whatever, or they are contributing, they are worker, right? They are worker. But for example, a person who is temporarily absent from the work, for example, I am not well and I am not going to office, right? So that means I am not a worker. No, I am worker, I have taken leave, right? So in that case also I will be a worker, right? Similarly, for example, a person who is working, I am the head, I am not working, but I am helping others to work, right? So that means I am not a worker, I am not working at all. No, I am still a worker, right? For example, this is a company, he is the owner. Of course, that owner won't be working, the employers will be working, so he is not a worker. No, ma'am, he is also a worker, right? So the worker also include those who help the main worker, right? In this situation. And the third situation, over here, this person is not getting salary because he is the boss of the company, right? This is not the we generally think that only those who are paid by the employer for their work as workers. This is not so. Those who are self-employed are also worker. Like he is self-employed, he is not getting salary for his work, but still he is a worker. Clear? So a person, apart from a person who is working, these are the three categories that are also come under working, or they are also known as workers. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, others, Mohammed Ayan, Mayam, getting?
Yes.
Oh. Now, next, because the chapter is employment. So, ma'am, what is this employment basically? Okay, so your employment, the nature of employment in India is multi-phase, right? So over here, for example, it's multi-phase. Someone is getting the full-time employment. Someone is doing part-time. Someone is doing seasonal, right? For example, right? So there are various type of, see, the nature of employment in India is multi-phase, right? Some get employment throughout the year. Some others get employed for only few months in a year. Many workers do not get fair wages for their work while estimating the number of workers. All those who are engaged in activities are employed or are included in employed. So basically they are multi-phases like full-time, part-time, seasonal, monthly based, contractual based, like this. But remember one thing, what is employment? All those people will come under this, whether they are full-time employee, part-time employee, seasonal, whatever they are. If they are working and they are engaged in any economic activity, they will be included under employed, and they are known as a employed person, and they are somewhere contributing to the employment. Clear? Getting the employment point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now next is participation of people in employment. So over here during 2011 and 12, India had 473 million strong workforce, right? Then most of the people resides in rural areas. So from there they were coming, right? And they were contributing. Then See, remember one thing, what you have to remember over here, this point. See, if someone will ask you whether men or women, who is contributing more to the workforce? So men form the majority of workforce in India. 70% out of 100, 70% of the workers are men, right? Why? Because people feel like that women are basically for women, housework, right? Not for the office work or not for something business and all that. So in India, this is the not myth. This is a trend basically, that most of the people who are engaged in work, they are men, not women. Okay, so this is participation. If someone will ask you to someone, you will say that this was this strong workforce and mostly were basically from rural areas. And if I'll ask you who is contributing more, men or women, so you will say, ma'am, women are not contributing that much, but men are in majority of workforce in India. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now this one very
Yes, ma'am.
important. Good. Now, this one very important. They ask you the direct question: what is work population ratio or workforce participation rate? Okay. So see, for example, this is your country. Over here, you have 100 people. These are the people, right? Over here, all the people are not employed, right? Only few people will be working. So, for example, let's just take the population is 200. Okay, and out of this, only 50 people are working, right? So if I'll ask you what is the worker population ratio, so you will say, ma'am, total is 200, right? But only 50 are working. If I'll ask you the ratio, so ratio is basically the percentage. So you will like multiply by 100. To get percentage, we always do this, right? So first we will understand the definition. So worker population ratio or workforce participation rate is defined as a proportion or percentage. Proportion is basically the percentage of a population that is actively contributing to the production of goods and services of a country. So out of this entire 200 people, only 50 people are contributing in production of goods and services, right? So if I'll ask you for the formula of work participation ratio, it is the estimated number of workers, like the actual people who were working. So only 50 people were working. What was your total population or estimated population, ma'am? 200. You want to know the ratio or the proportion, so you will multiply it by 100. So you got this work population ratio. This is the formula, and you also know the definition. Clear? Clear, girls, boys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, coming to see what is this work population ratio, or why you are contributing, why we are finding it out. So see, work population ratio or workforce participation rate is an indicator which is used for analyzing the employment situation in the country. Very important. One marker you can get dash is used to analyze the employment situation. Out of this, you will get to know the employment status, like what is the employment status in your country, right? See, if the ratio is higher, it means engagement of people is greater, right? If you are getting a good number, then you will say that most of the people are engaged, so it's a good factor. If the ratio of a country is medium or low, it means that a very high proportion of its population is not involved directly in economic activities, right? So over here, so first of all, why we are calculating is, then if it is high, what happens? If it is low or medium, then what happens? Clear? Clear? Oh yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So what? Okay. So for rest 5 minutes, what you will do? You will quickly read it. First, you will read GDP and GNP. Then, who is a worker? First point, and these 3 points. Then, what is the employment and the participation rate? Right. First point, the second point till here, and the third point till here. Okay. And then this, you will quickly read it, because if I'll only explain you, then it's like I'm only explaining you, but you will not get anything because you are not even making notes. So you'll read it. Okay. So I'm giving you 5 minutes. After every 1-2 minutes, I'll scroll it down. In case if you are still reading it, you can just let me know, ma'am, I'm still reading it. Please wait for a minute. Okay. Okay, students done.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now over here you can see a table, right? So what you can see, work participation rate, men 54. Okay, in total. So let's just discuss about rural and urban. So in rural 54 and in urban 54.6. So, somewhere same. But in rural area it's only 24 and urban area it's 14. Right? In total you can say it's 39 and it's 35. Right? So let's just see why there is a difference between work population in rural and urban. Right? So see, in urban area the work population ratio is about 36, whereas in rural area the ratio is 40. Right, somewhere it is 40 and in urban it is 35. So why it is like this? So see, people in rural area have limited resource, as we discussed over here that most of the people are contributing from rural area. So this is the reason behind this. Now you will be like, no ma'am, most of the people like in urban area there are jobs and all that, so why you are saying that people are engaged in over here? So let's just see the reason. People in rural areas have limited resource to earn higher income and participate more in the employment market. Many do not go to school, colleges, and other training institutions. Even if you go, they discontinue in the middle to join the workforce. People cannot stay at home as their economic condition may not allow them to do so. So in rural area, basically what happened, most of the people they are engaged in work. Either they are serving in the agriculture field or in any employment status. Most of the people do enroll for schooling and all that, but they leave because they're in rural area. Most of the people are poor. So in order to sustain their life, right, in order to contribute for their home, they what they do, they leave their middle they leave their schooling and everything and they join workforce. But on the other hand, in urban area most of the people are poor, right? So even for example a businessman is there, so his children will be taking highest education, right, doing graduation, doing masters, doing phd, and then they'll think about job and all that. But so in urban area most of the people they are not working, they are focusing more on learning. Right. So on the other hand, in urban areas, as considered section is able to study in various education institutions, urban people have a variety of employment opportunity. They look for the appropriate job to suit their qualification and skills. So it's not like that I have to contribute to my family and then I'll start working. No, they take proper education and after that they decide that for which sector they should go. Right. So that's why there's a difference that most of the people workforce basically is in rural areas as compared to urban areas. Okay. Then now next is why are women in general and urban areas in particular not working, right? So you can see urban area it's only 14%. Over here it's 28 rural area, but why not in urban area? So see, compared to males, less females are found to be working. The difference in participation rates is large in urban areas. From 100 urban females, only 15 are engaged in some economic activities. In rural area, out of 100, 25 participate. So you can see in urban, basically only 15 are engaged and in rural so 25. So let's just see. So it is common to find that when where men are able to earn high income, families discourage female members to taking up the job. So basically in urban area what happens, if a male is earning a good amount of money, then females are like, why you should go for work, something like that, right? So this is the first reason. Second, earning of urban male worker are generally higher than the rural males, and so the urban families do not want females to go work. Similarly, so the person who is earning in urban areas and the person who is working in rural areas, so urban male will be earning higher. So what they don't want their females to work. They are like, we are working and it's sufficient for the home or sufficient for the family. Okay. And this, apart from this, many household activities in which urban women are engaged are not recognized as productive work, while women working on farms in rural area are considered as a part of workforce if they are being paid wages in cash or form of food grain. So basically what happens, for example, in urban area, if women is engaged in, see, if women is doing household work like, washing dishes, washing clothes, cooking foods and all that, it's not considered as a job, right? But in rural area, if a female is engaged in a agriculture field like farms and all that, and she in return is getting money or something, so that is basically she is employed, right? So this is also a reason that in urban area you don't have farms, right, that you will be going and you will be doing the agriculture product and all that. No. So that's why this is the reason why there is a difference between women's participating in urban as well as in rural. Okay. Then coming to next, this is self-employed and hired work. So self-employed and hired workers, what is the difference? So see, different categories of status of work. So first are basically the self-employed. So self-employed are basically those people who own and operate the enterprise. For example, this is the industry and I'm the owner. So I'm owning and plus I'm operating, I'm controlling everything. So this is, I am self-employed. Then casual wage laborers are there. Basically, they are the types of workers, or you can say different categories of workers. So first is self-employed, second is casual wage labor. Wage is basically on daily basis you are getting your money. Okay, so casual wage laborers are casually engaged in other farms and in return get a remuneration for the work done. For example, the construction worker are casual wage worker. So for example, there's a construction going on, right? So till then this construction will be done, these people will be getting money every day, right? So this is, they are basically casual. Casual is basically normal, they are not permanent, right? And regular salaried employees are basically they are engaged by someone, or by they are working in any particular firm or something, and they are getting the regular basis and they are getting their regular salary. Okay, so they are basically this. So we have three types of workers: self-employed, casual wage laborers, and regular salaried employees. Okay, clear? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, see, advantage of knowing the status with which a worker is placed in an enterprise. So why you see, this is the status: self-employed, casual, or regular. So why you are studying all this, ma'am? What why do we need all this? So what are the advantage basically? So see, by knowing the status with which workforce is placed in an enterprise, it may be possible to know the quality of employment in a country. So if you will see over here, you can see 52% of the people are self-employed, and 30% are basically the casual worker, and 18% are the regular. So because of this, you can get the quality of employment in a country, right? And also because of this, you will get to know that the authority, where it enables to know the attachment of a worker has with his or her job, and the authority or she has over the enterprise. So for example, if most of the people are engaged in this casual worker, so they don't have any attachment because this is a construction site. So why they will be attaching themselves with that construction area? This is not permanent, so they'll be like doing their work, getting their money, going back, right? They don't have any attachment with the company. But for example, if I'm working for a company, so I will give my 100% because I know if I will work hard, then I will get the promotion, right? So these are the two reasons why you should know the employment status of any country, right? So this is what you can see. Now we are distributing it like this: self-employed, same for male and female. So for male, self-employed is 51%, right? But for female, 56% are more self-employed. Coming to casual labor, it is 29. For casual worker, it is 31. And for regular, it is 20 and it is 13. Right? So you can see self-employed are basically of both men and women as in category accounts more than 50% of the workforce in both the pie chart. Right? Casual wage work is around one of the second major source for both men and women. So this is not basically between it. See, now the question comes from here: why it is 20% and why it is only 13%? Right? So see, this very very important, this one. Okay, so this is basically, see, may for getting job in any company you need a proper skills, right? Proper skills and everything. So most of the males are going to school and they are getting the proper education, so they have the relevant skills, so that's why it is 20%. But females, they are not going to school, right? They don't have the proper skills, that's why it is only 13%, right? Because since regular salary jobs require skills and a higher level of literacy, women might not have been engaged to a greater extent. So because of this reason, you can say that only 13% of women are regular salaried, and 20% are regular salaried men because they have the proper skills and everything. Okay, this is what. And now coming to urban and rural workers, similarly with this. So urban, most of the people you can see most of the people are engaged in self-employed, right? Casual is 15 and regular salary is 40%, 42. So in urban area, you can see most of the people, they are engaged in wages, not wages, permanent salary member, right? This is what. But in urban area, most of the people are doing, 56% of the people are doing self-employed. Like I have my land, right? And over there, people are working in my land, in my you can say farm and everything. So 56 are there and 35. Why? Because in rural area construction, or for example, this is my company, over here I will be hiring some people for agriculture work, so it is only 35%. And 9% in the, you can say, regular salaried person are over there, because in rural area you don't have permanent offices, permanent institution where people will be working, so it's only 9%. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So first you will do, you will quickly read it out. Okay, so you will first, I think we have to start from here. Quickly read it out, okay, just in 1 or 2 minutes. Why there's a difference between work proportion in rural and by these 2 points and these 3 points. Okay, and after that the other points, and over there you just need to read the graph, that's it. Okay, student. So let's just start with the next topic, which is employment in firms, factories, and offices. Okay. So how people are basically whether they are getting work in firms, factories, or offices. So let's just see. So distribution of workforce by industrial sector, first of all, right? So in industrial sectors, there can be different type of things. Okay, like people can be engaged in agriculture, mining, manufacturing, electrical, gas and water supply, construction, trade, transport, storage, etc. Like these are the basically various areas where they can be working, right? Now, after this, let's just take the workforce distribution. So first is primary sector. So in primary sector, basically primary sector includes agriculture, right? So in agriculture, 64% of the people are engaged, right? And agriculture is not a major source of employment in urban area where where people are mainly engaged in the service sector. So remember one thing, 64 people are engaged in rural area in agriculture, but in urban area, most of the people are engaged in service sector, like working, maybe they are working as an employer, maybe they are doctor, engineer, like this. So this is the situation of primary sector. Now in rural area, both men and women are workers are concentrated in the primary sources, right? And while about 63% of the female workforce is employed in primary sector, where less than half of the male workers in that sector. So basically in rural area, most of the females are working in fields and everything, right? And coming to secondary sector, you have like mining and quarrying, manufacturing, electric gases, water supply, and all that. So in secondary sector, what you get to know that 24% of the people are engaged in secondary sector, right? So see, out of 100, 35% is a rural workforce. As I already told you, people are not in primary sector. Most of the people are from rural area, right? But in secondary sector, most of the 35% of the people are from urban area, and 20% of the people are from the rural areas. Clear? Then coming to tertiary and this sector, so tertiary includes basically trade, transport, and storage services like this. So over here, 27% of the workers are engaged in service sector, and 60% from urban area, and only 16% from rural area. So what we got to know that, see, we have three sectors: primary, secondary, and tertiary, right? So primary, secondary, tertiary is basically primary over here, rural and urban, rural and urban, rural and urban, right? So in rural, over here, rural people are in majority. Here, secondary sector, urban people are in majority, and in tertiary again, urban people are in majority. So this is the situation, right? So we'll quickly read it. Okay, and then we'll like that's it for today. Then we'll start with the next topic from next class.